So we crank it back up here for the Fantasy Faithful. We know Week 13 is a must-win situation in most of your fantasy football leagues out there. The playoffs are just around the corner. Many of you are in the position of win, and you're in. So, Jeff, we got to welcome all the junkies out there to the Fat Chat right after the show.
This could be the most important Fat Chat of the season, realistically. For a lot of teams, like he said, it's win or go home. So, you really want to have your proper lineup in there, and I find that it's important to trust my instincts, but then to also ask my friends, who you think I should play between such and such a guy and said player, and by getting more opinions about who you should play, it gives you the ability to be objective in what you're doing as far as coaching goes. Coaching is so vitally important in fantasy.
It's kind of like polishing a diamond, realistically. A diamond is there, but it might be in the rough. And working with other people, asking them their input, kind of helps bring the process around full circle. Ultimately, your matchup decisions are just that. They're your matchup decisions. But we're here to offer our own insight and our knowledge. We want to help you. Most importantly, we want to just meet you, get to know you, get your feedback on the website. So check it out, testosteronesports.com.
Man, there's this girl who told me I polished my diamond too much.
Oh, dude.
I was like, that made me feel bad, man. I went and saw a psychologist.
So we got 4 matchups left to go. They're 4 of the ugliest matchups on the slate of games. We've done that for a reason as time is winding down. Tampa Bay at New Orleans. Jeff Garcia may not play in this game, which to me, Jeff, if Garcia doesn't play, Tampa's whole team really takes on a different look to it.
Yeah, I think it would be Bruce Gradkowski who would get the start in that situation, and it means to me that I think they would run the ball a lot more.
The Polish rifleman.
And I do really like Ernest Graham's skill set. I talked with Yeasty about that a little bit. Great game speed that kid has. He's good and quick, catches the ball really nice, and I think he makes a great play here this weekend.
Yeah, I agree. There again, I'm hitting all the bases on my writers page. You got to go check it out. Ernest Graham, I call this guy the next Rudy Johnson. Read my article. I like Ernest Graham here this week. I think he's a must play. And on New Orleans side, realistically, their big 2 in the passing game are must plays too. Colston and Breeze both popping lately.
Yeah, they've been heating up. Their connection is a primetime connection, and I just don't think there's anybody in the league who can hold those guys down for a full 4 quarters. So you got to keep those guys in your lineup for sure.
Reggie Bush, a player that fantasy owners have always kind of just been teased by. Yeah. Deuce has went out. Reggie really hasn't picked up with big fantasy numbers. Do you start Reggie here in this game, Jeff?
Well, you got to keep him on your lineup. He's got so much big gameplay ability that I just think you can't bench him. As soon as you do, there's that huge 75-yard touchdown burst that we've seen from him before.
Right, or that crazy game towards the end of last season where I believe he had 4 or 5 touchdowns in one game.
Right.
I don't know if that's coming now, but that's why you keep Reggie in your lineup.
It seems like Sean Payton needs to get a little bit more creative with how he uses Reggie, For an offensive mind, he needs to use some trickeration, like you like to say, with Reggie Bush,
Yeah, exactly, man. Well, these next 2 teams, it's been obliteration nation for them. Absolutely terrible this season. The Jets have 1 win. The Dolphins still winless. Oh, man, how terrible are these 2 teams? The Jets at the Dolphins? Somebody's got to win.
We should put up a little 10-second clock for how long we're going to talk about this matchup. I actually think that Miami gets their first victory and possibly only victory of the season here. This game's in Miami, correct? Right?
In Miami.
And I think that they're going to be highly confident and excited and motivated after the way that they barely lost to the Steelers here in the last game on Monday night. So I definitely think that they come in ready to work and roll. And now, no more Ricky again.
Yep.
So there's going to be no distraction of any of that stuff. So I don't think that they're going to win in a very pretty manner.
It's bad when you're excited because you barely lost. The Dolphins have fallen a long ways. The Jets were a playoff team a year ago. I still like the Jets here in this matchup. I think that if you're ever going to start Thomas Jones, you roll him out there this week. Look, he still doesn't have his first touchdown as a Jet, and he hasn't been injured. He's played all season, so he gets in the end zone here, in my opinion. I think the Jets do win this game, but like Jeff said, 10 seconds, let's move on. San Diego at Kansas City. Jeff, a team that you're really in love with. The San Diego Chargers, to me, they're kind of a Jekyll and Hyde type deal. Which team shows up this week at Arrowhead?
Well, it's a huge divisional matchup, and it's tough to win at Arrowhead. So, the fans are going to be up crazy for this game. And I think that the Chiefs will too, although they're in a little bit of a rebuilding mode. Brody Croyle under center now. He has a really nice connection with Dwayne Bowe, and I like Dwayne Bowe as a start here this weekend. You have to keep Gonzalez in your lineup because, he's going to be targeted there in the red zone. I think that the Chargers can come away with this victory because I do think also that the Broncos will win in theirs. And so it's going to keep the level up. You got to keep the bar raised high. So the Chargers need to keep pace with the Broncos if they want to win the division.
I'm going to go out on a little bit of a limb here, and I'm going to pick the Chiefs to win this game. Colby Smith ran with a lot of passion last week. He's trying to make a name for himself here in the league. He's definitely going to be LJ's backup next season. San Diego just doesn't stop the run like they did before, and I think the roller coaster thing just continues with them as a theme. And also, look, at Kansas City was one of only 2 games that this team lost last year when they went 14-2.
Yep.
So they have trouble in this environment. Arrowhead, very hostile. You obviously start LT, you obviously start Gates, and the aforementioned Chiefs you start. But I still think San Diego might sneak out with a victory, but I am going to pick the Chiefs by a couple in the end.
I think that this game could come down to 3 points,
Right.
a field goal at the end.
Right. Houston at Tennessee. Now, Tennessee came out and laid an egg last week. Houston was in a very winnable game against Cleveland, but both of those teams walked out with L's last week. Which one of those teams gets a W here?
I think that Tennessee will win. I do like the way that Vince Young has been playing as of late, so I'm excited to see what their team brings to the table. They're still thinking about the playoffs, so they're going to want to try to put a nice run here on at the end of the year.
The problem for them at their running back position just frustrates fantasy owners. Which guy gets the carries? Last week you started Lindale. Chris Brown got in the end zone, then they called the touchdown back.
More than anything, it's like they abandon their run because they get jumped on right away through the passing game.
Yeah, and Andre Johnson had that big blow-up game a couple weeks ago. He's not going to do that against Tennessee's defense. They have a good defense. I think this game has low scoring potential, and fantasy plays not that great here.
Yeah.
So, we thank you for joining us. Hop onto the chat after the show, the Fat Chat on Testosterone Fantasy Sports. Yeah. Check it out. You gotta see what we offer there, and it's all free. We know you love freeness, and it's all there for you for free. But we do this because we know you want to win, and if you want to win,
you must tune in
to Testosterone Fantasy Sports. See you next week.